You know how after you finish putting together some flat pack furniture, you always have this pile of useless spare parts left over? Well, in the world of Hearthstone, spare parts are anything but a pile of nuts and bolts. So there are a number of cards available that when certain conditions are met will add a spare part card to your hand. So for example, the Clockwork Gnome will give you a spare part as part of its death rattle when it dies. The Tinker Technician will instead give you a spare part and gain 1 health and 1 attack so long as you have another mech on the board when you play him out, as it's part of his battle cry. The spare part you get is random, but they all cost 1 mana to cast. They have a bit of a running theme of not being as good as a class specific spell that's around the same cost, but they add an element of unpredictability to a deck. They also come from cards that are relatively good value. The Tinkertown Technician, for example, if you drop him out and his battle cry takes effect, you get a 4/4 on the board and a spare part for only 3 mana. Let's take a look at the cards you can possibly get. Armor Plating will give a minion +1 health. Not really that great when you think of the priest spell Power Word Shield that gives 2 health and draws a card for the same cost. However, in the right circumstances, this can be used to buff a minion up, allowing it to kill another minion without dying in the process. Very similar to Armor Plating is Whirling Blades. This gives +1 to attack. In this case, it's mainly used to buff up a weak minion's attack to allow it to trade with something that it wouldn't normally be able to kill. Then we have the Rusty Horn. This gives a minion Taunt, again continuing the theme of not being as good as a class spell like Ancestral Healing or Mark of the Wild. However, just like these two, in the right situation it can be useful. Finicky Cloakfield. So this is potentially one of the better spare parts available. Outside of the rogue, no other class is able to cast stealth on its minions, and some can make great use of this to protect a high damage, low health minion. Reversing Switch. So everyone has access to the Crazed Alchemist, and for just 1 mana more than the Reversing Switch you also get a 2/2 on the board. However, he's not the most popular of cards, as a lot of people think his health and attack swap skill is a little bit too situational. However, it can be quite versatile. You can use it on your own minion to up its attack so it can trade out for a higher health minion of your opponent's, or you can use it to lower the health of your enemy's minion to kill it with a weak card. It's an instant kill on only 0 attack minions, or a way of boosting your damage when rushing down your foe, or mitigating damage from a high attack, low health minion of your opponent's. Next on the list is Time Rewinder. This card puts a friendly minion back in your hand. A great card for getting a second battle cry out of a minion or resetting their health if they're low. Emergency Coolant is the last spare part. This card can freeze a minion, a nice way to avoid damage or delay killing a card for a turn to instead focus on other things without putting yourself at risk. Spare parts are an interesting mechanic to add to the game. While they have very little predictability for the player using the cards, making them an unreliable tactic if you're hoping for a specific card to come out of it, it also means your opponent will not know what's coming either. It also adds a mechanic into decks that wouldn't normally be there. For example, a druid deck suddenly getting access to something like stealth could lead to some very interesting results. If you're interested in the Goblins Vs Gnomes expansion and want to find out more, I recommend hopping over to hearthstone.gamepedia.com, which will get updated as new cards and information comes out. You can find the link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave us a comment below if you have anything to add. For now though, I've been ASCII, and thank you for watching.